we may feel like, hey, I'm being super productive. But then in that case, I want to know, what are you busy spending time on? Because maybe now we need to find a resource, right?
We as professionals need to realize there are huge clients that take up all of our time and pay us the least. And then there's these huge clients that pay us the most that don't take up any of our time. Hello, everybody. It is Bobby and Therese again for another blog banter about top 5 insurance representative skills. Bobby and I are experts at this one. So we're going to talk about documentation, wow moments, managing your time, client tiers, and cross-selling. So with no further ado, Bobby, talk to us about why documentation is one of the top 5 insurance representative skills.
Oh, document. If you never, I swear I'm going to get a face tattoo that just says document.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It is one of the things that I have taught people for years and years and years. And I think it's funny because, what is the worst documentation, right? The worst documentation, nothing or add vehicle. Okay. And what vehicle, what year, what make, what model, what deductible who added the vehicle, how much was it? There's all kinds of missing information there. And then we have those that are like, dear diary. And we have the long, over documented things, right? There has to be a common ground, and we need to be setting expectations. And here's the thing is that in most agency management systems, there is one single source of truth that you can turn over in case of litigation for your E&O claim. And that is normally your activities, suspense, tasks.
In your management system. And if it's not in the system, what, Bobby?
It did not happen, guys.
It never happened.
It cannot be up here. It cannot be on a pad of paper. That attorney doesn't want your pad of paper. I'm telling you right now. And if you have never had to sit and be deposed on a claim, I do not wish it upon you. However, you need to understand that documentation protects our agency. CYA, cover your agency.
Or, no, I'm not going to say it. So make sure you are documenting. And if you are not documenting in your management system, I hate to break it to you, you are a crappy coworker.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. Because if you win the lottery at lunch, how is anybody going to pull that stuff out of your notebook because they can't read your handwriting, and they can't pull it out of your head because you're not there? And if it's not the management system, you're a bad coworker. Hate to break it to you. All right. So the next one is wow moments, building strong client relationships. So building rapport is kind of like a wow moment. When you are talking to that client on the phone and there is silence and you hear their baby crying or you hear their dog barking, you need to be asking, oh, how old's your child? Or what kind of dog do you have? Instead of just ignoring it. Because some of the clients will notice this. And when you ask them questions, you're building rapport. And when you say, oh, you have a dachshund? Well, I have chihuahuas and they're small dogs. And why do you like small dogs instead of big dogs? Of course, you don't want a 10-minute conversation. You want to just kind of mention it and keep moving on. But Bobby, how do wow moments enhance client retention?
Oh, yeah. I think anytime we can make a client feel loved, right? So they want to feel like we care about them. And I think it's super important that, especially because a lot of the work that we do as customer service people is over the phone. So they can't see our body language. They can't see our facial expression.
And there are statistics that show that like 38% is the body language. So you already lose 38% of the client's attention because they can't see you. So you have to go off the other lesser percentages of what you're saying and the tone and how you're saying it.
Mhm. And a lot of times we'll hear from agencies, "Oh, the client doesn't want to be on the phone with me." Well, I'll tell you, my clients like to talk to me.
And that is great customer service because guess what? They probably know Bobby's name. Do they know your name?
Where they know that I'm knowledgeable. I'm always honest and transparent and forthcoming, and I share that information with them in a way that they can easily understand. And so they want to talk to me. They're asking me questions about what's going on in my personal life as well. So, we need to be creating that really symbiotic relationship where our clients value us as part of their financial portfolio, right? Insurance is part of their financial portfolio that the client is building. And so we need to elevate our game, and they see me as their professional insurance person. I become part of their financial team.
Awesome. Yes. So you need to think of yourself as a licensed professional insurance agent and part of your client's team. Think of that. Ooh,
Mhm.
aha moment. So the next one is managing your time. This one is almost like a pet peeve for me because when I worked in the industry, I realized, well, I still work in the industry, but when I was an agent, I realized that I was wasting time. These little buggers right here are one of the biggest time wasters that exist in the world. And we didn't have those way back then. We had them, but we didn't use them. They weren't smart. They were just cell phones. So we didn't use them as much. But headphones, I mean, if you're not using headphones for work and you're wearing a headphone all the time, that kind of shows people a disrespect. Looking down at your phone all the time, social media and shopping online. Those are huge time wasters. And I think sometimes we as insurance agents, we need a break from the insurance. So we take these little breaks and we grab our phones and we go into social media, but then that break ends up going from 1 minute to 2 minutes to 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 20 minutes. So when I realized I was doing that, that's when I started.
Amazon Prime Shopping Day, Terry.
Oh my goodness. And when I started doing it, I started recognizing, oh my gosh, I could be making this many outbound calls for the time that I spent on my phone. So I started blocking time to do outbound calls and connecting with my life insurance guy. Cause I was like, hey, I can block these times. Can you be here at these times? So if I get somebody, I just throw it over to you. And he's like, yeah, sure. So, you have to self-reflect and realize that you're wasting time.
Mhm.
Everybody has the same amount of time. It's how we're using it. What did I do this morning? And I did this in the speaking event. I asked them, where was I this morning at 6 o'clock? I was at the pool. I was swimming at 6 o'clock this morning. And then where was I at 7 o'clock? Oh, I was walking my dogs at 7 o'clock. There's certain things, and I know people have kids and other things, but you have to use your time wisely and find ways to get that time to work. Anything on time management, Bobby?
Yeah, I think, when I start to feel like I'm getting a little bit backlogged, what I'll do is I'll jot down what I'm spending my time on. When I change, I'll just keep a little notepad next to me. And I know we're not big on notepads, but I'm not writing down client information. This is just for me to have a mental check in with myself. So I'll use my whiteboard and I'll say, okay, at this time I did this, right? And then I go on with what I'm doing. And that way it'll help me at the end of the day or in the end of the week, sometimes depending upon where I'm at and what kind of check in I need to do with myself. But to your point, we got to check in with ourselves and we have to hold ourselves accountable. So I need to know, where am I spending my time? And we may not feel like we're wasting time. We may feel like, hey, I'm being super productive. But then in that case, I want to know, what are you busy spending time on? Because maybe now we need to find a resource, right?
And you can always use a whiteboard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll say, from X time to X time, I spent, I was sending emails to clients, or I was doing outbound sales outreach, or, I was networking with my centers of influence, or I was working on my blog, or whatever I was doing. And that way, then I can go back and I can look at that and analyze that and go, well, why did you spend so much time on that? Is it a problem? Is it an issue that I need to report? to, my leader so that they can help me? Is it something that maybe I need to think about getting off of my plate and that I really shouldn't be focusing my time on? So I think really checking in with yourself and analyzing where you're spending your time if you're feeling overwhelmed is a great way to kind of hit the reset button.
And our VA, the fabulous client concierge Shay, she got herself an actual big whiteboard and she has a checkbox list that she goes through every day. My problem is if I do that, if I see it consistently, I won't even see it anymore. I'll just walk by it. But that's what works for her. She has a big whiteboard. She has checkboxes, and every day her personal and professional goals go on the checkboard, and she checks them off. And she says it's very satisfying to check those off. And her nieces and nephews come over and see it, and they're learning about that too. So that's cool. So the next one is client tiering, tailoring your approach. Now, I don't think insurance agents ever considered client tiering. I think it's a new concept for them because they're like, well, we just take every client that come in. And being that I worked in several agencies that had non-standard books, I very clearly know what the client tiers are, and having clients come in and make payments, every day, or calling in and making payments. And we as professionals need to realize there are huge clients that take up all of our time and pay us the least. And then there's these huge clients that pay us the most that don't take up any of our time. So we need to make sure that we're balancing out. So we're giving all this, wow, great customer service to these low tier clients that don't pay very much. And we're giving no customer service to those top tier clients. So we need to learn how to balance that out. And that's why we recommend outbound calls, because how often are you checking in your big top tier clients? So you need to start making a habit of checking in on those clients. Anything on client tiering, Bobby?
Yeah. I think when we talk about client tiering, there's a lot of confusion around client tiering in the sense that means that, if a client is in a lower tier, that we provide less customer service to that person. And that's not what we're talking about. We still want to provide the same awesome, great customer service to every client, but we also need to know how to prioritize our day. And when we tier our clients, it really helps our team understand, how do I need to prioritize this day? The other thing is that we want to see those clients moving up in tier, because that's also a way for me to understand opportunity that exists within the agency. If I have a client that's maybe in a bronze tier, I want to see that client moving up to silver, gold, VIP, right? That's opportunity that is there for me to move that client. This is not about providing less or more customer service. It's about providing fair and equitable customer service to all of our clients.
Well, and that client goes from that lower tier to an upper tier when they're no longer monoline. So make sure that you are cross-selling. That's the next thing, cross-selling. And one of my other favorites, because there's no better sale than the cross-sale, because it's a warm lead. You already have all the customer's information. So don't waste your cross-selling opportunities. Cross-selling means pull a list, auto, no home, home, no auto. Work those, try to get those other customers. And then when you have home and auto, jump on the umbrella. And if you're going, auto, no home, try to sell the home. And then on top of it, try to sell the umbrella, because everybody can use an umbrella, especially in today's day and age. The way the economy is, the way things are moving, it's great to have an umbrella in case something happens. You can use things like inexperienced operators. Those are important. I've had 2 of those. So I've had an umbrella ever since my 23-year-old was probably 14 or 15. I've had an umbrella since, because you never know what's going to happen with teenagers, especially with them driving. So cross-selling, make sure you're checking on those lists of people that are monoline and don't have other policies. Cross-sell, cross-sell, cross-sell. 4 and score is APP's kind of tagline. We want you to get 4 policies. It could be auto, home, umbrella, life. It could be auto, home, toys, and umbrella. So mix it up, find what the customer needs. The best way to do that is building rapport with the client, giving them wow customer service, learning about their assets and what they have that we can protect and take care of. Anything on that?
Yeah, I think that the more lines we have for the client, the better, right? Because that's less competition for us. If they have coverage someplace else, you betcha that that agent, if they're doing their job correctly, that they have their expiration dates of those policies that are sitting in your system and they're going to be reaching out proactively to your client, especially if they're a good client. So we want to make sure that we can round that account out to really create a great 360 account for our agency. The other thing about cross selling is I have a hard time with the word sale, right? Because I think sometimes people, especially service people, they say, well, I'm not a salesperson. And I want to break down the sales versus service. And we're focused on growth for the agency. And so when we focus on that growth, our job and our role for our client is just to simply educate them on what we have available and what is available to them. So I don't want it to be seen as, oh, I'm trying to sell something to someone. What we're doing is we're educating the client on what is available to them. And I had a great conversation with some producers yesterday about they made mention to the fact that I'm not always great at offering life. And sometimes that's simply because we feel like maybe we're having a hard conversation with the client about a rate increase, but now we're not offering the life insurance coverage because we feel like it's selling them something. But all we're doing is we're educating them that we offer this product, that it's a product that they don't currently have, and they're never going to be younger than they are today.
Another one of my favorite. Basically, we have to learn how to talk to people in their language. And when it comes to life insurance, their language is different. You can't talk to a 20-year-old about life insurance because all they think is that's death insurance and I'm not of age to die. So we have to really work on how we word things to people, how old they are, how we talk about things. Use mortgage protection or college funding, or, if they're young and they have a wife and child, taking, care of their wife and child. And pushing life insurance for stay-at-home moms is huge, because what would that spouse do with those kids if something happened to that stay-at-home mom? So we have to think of all of those aspects and how we can help our customers and build our book. And if it's hard right now to retain because of rate increases, cross-selling is your way to go, because you're getting other policies, you're increasing retention, you're giving them a discount for bundling. So cross-selling could be your way of getting your book to grow and not being so worried about the retention. Now, we want to retain, but we're building retention when we cross-sell.
Agencies out there are sitting on a gold mine, Therese.
Yep. So that's
from coverage increases and cross sells, referrals.
Yep.
Like, there is so much opportunity in people's books, but they have to take the time to review it.
Absolutely. So that's our top 5 representative skills. This month, December, we're, I think, doing call forms. So you want to review calls. It's our review call form. But check us out, agencyperformancepartners.com. We work with agencies to help build process plans. We do an agency assessment. We have all these other programs: retention, time management, or agency efficiency, and sales. We're here to work and partner with agencies to help the world of insurance improve and be ridiculously amazing. So thanks for joining us for our call today, and we'll see you soon.
See you next week.